Hello, hello. Can everyone hear me? Can you see the Bitcoin chart? Can you hear the music? Volume's okay? Quick check. Awesome. All right, we'll give it a couple minutes and then get started. We finally had some action after this ugly chop we got here in between 114 and let's say 117. So some more price action to work with. Mostly our Ethereum shorts from last week played out beautifully. We're fully out of those. Still in the Bitcoin shorts, but I'll give you my thoughts, my reasoning why I closed that. Of course, it was a lower time frame trade, so that's that. But yeah, most importantly, give you my plans for what's next. Hello, oh Max. I flipped long ETH. Yeah, I think it's a little bit too early, but I can see longs working from the general areas where we're at right now. I would just give it a little more time, as I could see some, like one more sweep of every current low that we just had. Ethereum is the best example in my eyes, as where was our target and main liquidity resting below here, right? But on some exchanges we front ran this low, and on others, as you can see right here, we barely took it. But in my opinion, it wouldn't be a bad thing to see one more drive lower, right? That doesn't only grab liquidity below here, but also stops people out who are longing early, so who are longing right here. Take those out, then see the reclaim, and then in my opinion you go for the long, at least targeting this range mean again. But I'll go in depth in a second. Swing long is not so soon, need more time for consolidation. Yeah, I agree. And on Bitcoin, yeah, I still want to see lower to feel confident in swing longs. I don't think swing longing here is the play, but I could be wrong. At least not if you're targeting all-time highs, you see. All right, let's start. Gonna be a nice little stream, not too long, but we'll cover what we have to cover, what we traded from last week, and most importantly, what I'm watching next. Okay. First, I'm gonna start off with Bitcoin as always. Then we'll do ETH, some altcoins, and see if we do anything else. All right. So Ethereum, the main reason that we were looking for shorts was the look of the monthly and combining that with the lower time frames. The monthly, right, just quickly saying what I said last week, we had monthly liquidity resting down here. We didn't have a long wick to the downside on the monthly, while the upside on these candles, we swept previous month's high and closed very ugly in the red. Now the question is this going to be a bearish retest, right? Or are we going to take this liquidity and still move up higher to all-time highs? We don't know, but what we do know or did know was that risk reward for shorts up here, anywhere up here, was pretty decent, as you had a clean invalidation below, above all-time highs and a clean target below these lows. And even on the lower time frames, you can already see that we now saw some downside, right, from our entries after sweeping some local highs as well. Now the question, of course, on everyone's minds is this going to be it, right? Are we gonna drop lower from here, or are we sitting at support and are we going to break out to new all-time highs, right? Well, and for that, to answer that question, you're gonna move your time frame to the lower time frames, and in my opinion, the invalidation to the upside is still very clean. So for me personally, my reasoning or my signal to flip bullish is still the same as whenever we traded above here. And what was that? Well, if I take back these, right, where was OTE resting? From the high to the low, right? Where are you looking for shorts? OTE area. Where's range high resting? Right there. Where's clean highs resting? We took some, but they're still resting some lower time frame highs right there. So does it change anything if we move higher from here, take that liquidity in here and dump back below here and still see does it change anything if we pump from here, sweep the highs and reject? No, then I would still be targeting lower. Why? Because higher time frame liquidity, monthly, has been taken, while monthly liquidity to the downside is still going to be there, right? So wouldn't it be the ultimate trap to move higher from here, sweep these highs, right? Get everyone bullish again, and then bam, reject it again, and see the final nuke towards all of these lows. I mean, do I think this is going to happen? No, but it's always important to plan ahead, right? And just to feel more comfortable if you're in a trade or in any position, or even not, just to know what you'll do and what you'll think if price moves towards a certain area. That's why I'm saying, even if we bounce aggressively from here and sweep last week's high, I could still see a pretty hard rejection. Now, another reason why I think this scenario could even play out is because of the look of the weekly, right? So we saw the weekly close, and what happened? We closed the weekly, this one, and straight dumped from the open. I've said it a million times, right? Whenever you have a candle, you always want a long wick to the upside and a long wick to the downside. If you don't have that, it is likely that it gets taken, that short wick, within the same candle or the next few candles. So in this case, right, the weekly opened and we have a small wick, but we pretty much dumped straight away. So what do we have? We have our weekly high resting right there. Let's mark that out. Weekly high. What else do we have? On the lower time frames, right? We did dump into some support range lows, right? And more importantly, the demand, the sideways price action, consolidation, swept the lows, reclaim, consolidation, and from this consolidation we pumped in here. So in my opinion, the longer we range here and the closer we get to this weekly high, the more likely we take it. And at that point, if we get above the weekly open, right, I could even see us sweep above here and then reject and see lower again. So for me right now, the more important area to the upside will not be the area where we just dumped from around here, but it will still be the higher time frame supply up there and liquidity above this high. So for now, I'm holding shorts. I initially moved my stops to break even, but I put them back as my invalidation has not changed, right? I can see this, a sweep into OTE, a rejection, and still a move into the same direction. If we do something like this, right, it will depend on when we trade towards there, but I will keep my eyes on the higher time frame closes, because if we close the weekly very strong up here, the chances of us breaking higher increase a lot, and same for the monthly, right? I don't want to see, ideally, a weekly close above here, above these former closes on the monthly. If we do that and we close the monthly above there, the chances of us breaking higher from here are way too high for me to look for shorts, and at that point I will either stay flat and chill in spot, or I will be looking for longs. All right, but like I said, I could see price return to this OTE area, still reject. If we close strong, that invalidates the idea of weakness, but for now I don't really see a reason to close my shorts on Bitcoin, and I could even see continuation from here. But if we see a bounce, right, I wouldn't stress it, because I think there's a good probability that we sweep some highs and still dump lower from there. And my first target for my shorts would be down here. Does that make sense? Any questions? El Romano, welcome, man. We'll maybe do requests at the end. Please keep your tickers for you for now. Do you think alts will dump heavily if Bitcoin goes to 105 or even 95? That's a good question. I do think some alts, at least, because right now, like, we have so many meme coins and so many altcoins that it's difficult to call them all out, right? I think some alts are looking very good compared to the look of Bitcoin. Relative strength, I don't know. But I do see some setups forming on altcoins that I could, that I really like, and where I could see them trade a lot higher while Bitcoin just chills, right? So if Bitcoin does this and just nukes towards 102, 104, are altcoins going to dump? Yeah, of course, right? But you can always have a ranging Bitcoin that doesn't do a lot, and altcoins going vertical to the upside, or just putting in some nice moves. And I think that could be the case soon. You have coins like AVAX, for example, looking very, very strong, sort of breaking out. Yeah, BNB, of course, is just absolutely on a run, you know, into all-time highs, into price discovery. Hype is not looking, not looking the best. Link is one. We'll talk about that in a second. But just to quickly answer your question, I could see bullish altcoins while Bitcoin slowly moves lower down, or just ranges in between, let's say 105 and 120. No question for Bitcoin, it's pretty clear, but on alts it's different. Yeah. Can we see a possible liquidity sweep towards 3800 area? Well, that's Ethereum, and let's talk about that one now. Because as you guys know, I was short on Bitcoin and on Ethereum, and a stupid song. Okay. You might wonder why I'm fully out of Ethereum and still in Bitcoin shorts, and the main reason for that is pretty damn straightforward, because The Ethereum trade was a lower time frame trade. This one was purely based on this range, and I talked about it before. As we have seen this range high, this range low, sweep the highs, sweep the lows, continuation. Range high, range low, sweep the highs, sweep the lows, continuation. Range high, range low, sweep the highs. So what was I looking for? As long as we held this supply zone, OTE at that point, from this high to this low, right? Nice confluence. And guess where we exactly rejected? My entry could have been better, right? But it's not about catching the exact high and the exact low. It's about catching the majority of the move, and that's exactly what we did. Invalidation was clean. I didn't know if we were going to sweep this and dump or pump all the way up here and dump, right? But what we do know is that we were targeting this range low that sort of got swept, right? On this exchange it did. So that is the trade done. What I would like to see here is one more run, right? A little bit lower, and then from like quickly dip below 4K. And then if we start reclaiming, yeah, then I'll be looking for swing longs to the upside, right? And that's not the case for Bitcoin. That's why I'm saying I could see Ethereum and some other alts move to new highs while Bitcoin is just chilling. All right, so it's the same right here, right? That's a clean sweep. That's a clean sweep. But here, that's like calling for another move lower. So one more sweep, that would be ideal. So now we can finally remove this trade, clean up the chart a bit. Still the same range, of course. But where would we be looking for longs? I will be aggressive personally. If we see one more run on the lows, I will take a setup that looks like this, probably. Target 5K plus. And look to compound as much as I can on confirmation. So say we sweep this, right? Be aggressive, see what price does. If price does this, right, we'll be stopped out, so be it. If price doesn't, right, and we start chilling or start reclaiming this, we see some kind of ranging form here, right? Demand and breakout, retest. I'll be looking to add to my longs and target new highs. Okay, so that's my plan for Ethereum. What would invalidate, of course, if we just smash through this range low level and close very ugly back down here. Yeah, then I think this low will be next, but after that all the way back into 2.7K. Right, say we don't get another sweep of range lows, what will I be looking for then? Well, you have such a clean mid-range right here, that in my opinion that would confirm a break higher as well. So if we reclaim this and see consolidation there, then I think that's your long signal as well. Invalidation below range low and target new all-time highs. Right? If you spam too many in the chat, by the way, I'm just gonna block you because there's no point. Do you think Solana will dip to new lows considering its weekly performance? We'll talk about Solana in a second. ETHFI. Right, so that's Ethereum. Next one, BNB. I mean, we talk about it every stream, but it's basically saying the same every time, that it looks freaking bullish and that I'm just holding my spot, right? Main target. I don't know if I had it. Yeah, these ones got hit, but was like 1.2K, right? So we'll see. For now, I'm just holding it all. But I might start taking profits around 1.2K, at least sell sell a part, right? Sell half, maybe 30%, something like that. Aster, I didn't catch Aster. No, completely missed it. But it's nice for trading now, you know. It's got a lot of volume, got a lot of eyes on it. That's sometimes good for newer coins. Oh, it's looking great. What a clean range. You see your mid-range approximately here. This? Let's take it. Oh wait, it's this chart is, it's lagging. This is not the real chart is up. Oh, yeah, look at this. Okay, but look at the setup I wanted to take. You saw? Lol. Okay, well, I guess I'm not longing it then. Yeah, looks clean, man. You just saw the range I drew on this chart. I'm not sure it's stuck on mix. But yeah, it pumped already. No risk reward for me here to look at a trade. For spot, I don't know. I'm not following this, you know. So I could trade it on lower time frames, but right here it pumped a little bit too much already for me. Link, right? Let's talk about that one as we longed this one this morning. I'll give you, I mean, I gave you my reasons already last week. What did we say then? Right? The weekly was turning. We rejected that supply and have clean lows below. What I wanted to see, right? The sweep of the lows. And if we take those, then I'll be looking for longs, targeting new highs. So weekly low swept, already bouncing nicely. What I want to see here is ideally, I mean, on a lot of these altcoins, the weekly flip green, right? And if we do that, yeah, then these become your invalidation. And in my opinion, you move to all-time highs. So that's, I took a little aggressive long here, stops right below here. I know I said one more run on ETH. Maybe Chainlink holds then, but like the buyback we got, I think this low holds. And it beautifully swept all of the lows that I wanted it to sweep. So just took it like this. If you see another sweep, I might try again or wait for more confirmation. But the idea was simple, right? Look for a weekly sweep into this weekly key pivotal area. And if we do that, then look for longs targeting new highs, new local highs, right? First this key resistance, then up here, and then lastly up there. So will be massively worth it if this plays out. Usually I don't go for risk reward like this, but felt like it was too nice not to take. So yeah, I really like this. Litecoin, we also talked about last stream. We said also we were looking for one more sweep as it swept the highs, didn't sweep the lows. Guess what? We went for the lows. Is it ready to go up for now and break out? I don't know. Lower time frames, I'd say bounces are likely, right? But would I be trading it here? Not really. I think there's better things out there. But did anything change on the higher time frames? That I think still think that this is a big accumulation range and that we'll break out of it yes, nothing changed, right? So just chilling in spots. Solana, right? I gave you the exact resistance, OTE area, and I said, right, key area to watch. Everyone was FOMOing in. Well, guess what? It's down at the moment. So not looking the best to me. Why not? Because of all of these lows right there. I think there's better trades, better charts out there on the higher time frames to look at. But of course, if Sol manages to reclaim the area where we're currently rejecting it, like, and do something like this retest would be a massive buy, targeting new all-time highs. So right there. All right. Okay, feel free to post some requests now. We'll take a look at some. XRP, you see this flat top, right? That gives me the feeling that we'll at least see some upside. Now, what I don't like is that we barely swept this high, this low, sorry. It's basically equal lows. Would have been better if we would have done this and then move higher, right? So not convinced. It's the same with a lot of these. That's why I think maybe one more run wouldn't be a bad thing. Hype. Yeah, like I said, hype. Also not sure. I also think there's better ones out there. Now, hype has been very strong, but it wicked pretty damn high on the weekly, right? Got rejected, an ugly close, straight continuation, but more importantly, just like Sol, a lot of lows to the downside. So what I would like to see on this one would be some kind of a weekly sweep to the downside and then see continuation. What invalidates what I just said? Well, if we now flip the weekly bullish, right, and close here, then I think it just runs up again, because then it would just be higher low, higher low, higher low, fail to break down, fail to break down, fail to break down, and then just running away from it. And then I could see it squeeze a lot. But what confirms that would be a weekly close in the green. Bird, yeah. Still back in profit, right? Nothing changed. We retested this key pivotal area, broke out of it, retested it, and now it just looks like it wants to run away from it. We've got to be patient, right? On the daily, it's been going up, down again. But as you can see, looking very strong. So just holding, I have a pretty good spot back of this one. Bought more on the dip right here. What is my first target up here? These highs. And after that, of course, all-time highs. QD. Not sure what that is, man. When bear market since December 2025. I mean, that's the wrong question. You did, in my opinion, especially now. I think the times of asking yourself whether it's a bear market or a bull market are kind of over. This cycle is completely different from the previous ones. So who knows what we're gonna get. So the best advice I can give you is simply look at the charts. And if the chart on the monthly is telling you that we're going down, well then look for shorts. Otherwise, look for longs. For now, I'm still holding all my spot backs, as I think the monthly is still looking bullish. Ethereum just pumped back up here and is going to trade higher. Litecoin still has to break out, and BNB is just massively running in price discovery. So for me, I'm just holding my spot backs, but I definitely plan on taking some out in the coming months if I see what I wanted to see. Right? Doge. Yeah, not a fan, man. Swept weekly highs, swept monthly highs, right? And is rejecting pretty heavily. And I don't like the fact that it's accepting back within this range right here. So either it's gonna hold this demand, right, and reclaim this. If we do that, then I'd say more likely to the upside. If we reclaim this, right, something like this. If we don't, right, and keep bleeding down here, then I think these two lows are next into range lows. And then I think this would be a better place to look for longs. So on Link and ETH, you're looking for a little sweep to catch some stops and then up. Mostly on ETH, yeah. On Link, I'm not sure if we're gonna get it. Link is up a little bit more than Link also wicked lower, so grab more liquidity to the downside. So I wouldn't be surprised if ETH does this and reclaimed that Link just does this and makes a higher low. But yeah, I don't know. Can you explain what made you want to take the trade on Aster from mid-range before you saw it was lagging? Very strong uptrend, right? Up, building a range low swept, right? Rejected at range mean, but made a higher low and bounced at demand. Reclaimed range mean, right? Retest range mean, buy the retest and target new all-time highs. And of course, if this would be the setup on some shitcoin that no one's talking about, I probably wouldn't take it. But the fact that everyone is talking about this coin, right? Longs are gonna have a higher probability than shorts. So yeah, for those reasons, if something is looking strong and everyone is talking about it, it makes sense to look for longs. Theta. Looking horrible. Could it scam pump and sweep some highs? Sure, but would I be looking at this for trade setups or for spots? No. How do you split your spot and perp bags? What do you mean, like percentage wise? I have way more money in spot than on perps. Perps are just to keep me busy and enjoy the game, you know. Keep me entertained, but most of my money I made was from simply holding spot bags. Curve looking for longs or nah? Let's see. Looking weak, wouldn't you say? Like, I wouldn't long into something that looks like this. When would that change? Like, if we see a reclaim, like, just take this key level, right? Which was support and then resistance and rejected. If we get a smash back above here and close very strong, then buying the retest makes sense. But why would you blindly buy into this? That doesn't make sense in my opinion. So I would wait. Where would I buy the dip? Yeah, nowhere, to be honest. I wanted to say a sweep like this, but even then I wouldn't bother. I'd look for something else. Your analyses are so clean, thank you. No worries, man. Glad you like them. You think DOT could see a pump? Chart looks shit, but some people holding bags. Yeah, the more people that are bag holding bags, praying for a move up, the more likely I think it is that it's gonna dump another 50%. Once again, yes, it did sweep some lows, but look at the monthly on this, right? No strength at all. So if you're not in, I wouldn't get in. If you're just talking about trading, right? what would I look for then? Well, all of these lows got swept, right? If this wants to hold, I would be looking for a smash above here and then buy the retest and target some highs. But for now, it's just gonna like trade something else. Guys, by the way, leave a like on the stream if you enjoy it. That really helps me a lot. Let's get the likes to 30 at least. Subscribe as well if you haven't already. I would really appreciate that. Stbl, what's that? Never heard of this one. It's a new coin. It's on Binance, so why is the Aster chart lagging on Max, by the way? This one isn't right. But yeah, newer coin. It's the first time I hear from it. But it's looking pretty clean. Yeah, you see, like this, you could argue that it looks good, but then if you check the daily, right, I don't like this candle formation. Flat bottom here as well. Strong pump, but then swept this high, right? Rejected, closed in the red, next candle, retest to the upside, creating your upper wick and then seeing lower. So for me to become bullish on this again and thinking that it trades to new all-time highs would be a daily close above here, right? That clearly invalidates this bearish move that would likely for now move to the downside first. Or let's see where the weekly open is resting. Yeah, see, it's resting around the same area. So a smash above here, right? That would be a good thing, and then likely target higher. But until then, I would be patient because you have that ugly daily bottom right there. So more likely, in my opinion, that it does this. And then you look for longs here. On confirmation, by the way. You don't want to buy a new coin that goes up like this and then keeps bleeding lower and comes in here. What you want to wait for is an accumulation range to set up, right? A lower high, and then a sweep of all of those lows and a reclaim. And that's where you long, targeting here. That's a high probability setup. Not anything else, in my opinion. You could look for a bounce play here, right, on the first step of this demand, sweeping this low, but even then I would be careful. Right? Near broke the trend line. Gold, I'll do gold and silver. Near, Egan. I miss the Bogdanov dump eat meme era. Aster, yeah, we already did. Where you started from? A long time ago. Metic will do. Okay, that's a lot of coins. I'll try my best. Near was first. See, it would look a lot worse if these highs would have been swept. But now they haven't, so there's still a draw on the monthly, right? If you then look to the weekly, what do we see there? Clean retest and already up nicely, barely a wick to the upside on the weekly. Also a good sign. Daily, retested this key area, already wicked in there. Yeah, I like this. Let's see, maybe if things retrace a bit. Yeah, but it's, you could try a long, sneaky long here. Yeah, you could do that. Something like this. Keep your validation below here and target these monthly highs. But will depend on Bitcoin, you know, if we, and on, yeah, on everything, Ethereum. But that's a pretty clean setup, in my opinion. Egan. Look at this post plan. Played out nicely, right? Sweep the low, target back some highs. Yeah, didn't trade it, of course, but let's see. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. I don't like this one because it swept the highs already. So there's going to be less draw on the higher time frames. Now, if we do break above this area, then it would change again. Because then you broke out, and I think it's more likely that you test all the way up here. But until then, like, that's what I meant with a chart that looks like this, where it pumps, right? That's a perfect example. It's the weekly chart, but it's still the same. You see, if you compare it to that previous one, upside, and then it just start bleeding, bleeding, bleeding. You would have bought here, you would have bought the sweep there, but what happens? It keeps on bleeding until it bounces, makes a lower high, right? Accumulation, sweeps the highs. So now what's it going to do? What I would love for it to do would be to dump from here, take out these lows, see a strong reclaim, right? And that's where I would be looking for longs. At least targeting range highs again. But then if you see the breakout there, right, then it's go time, and then you can start targeting a lot higher. But right here, it just swept the highs, and you have unswept range lows. So that's your range. Yeah, range mean pivotal as well, right? If you draw it like this. So either a convincing break above here, something like this, or downside sweep and reclaim, or down into range lows just to sweep these, and then a convincing break above range high. Right, we'll do gold and I mean, yeah, we'll do, I mean, nothing much to say about them because they've just been pumping to new high after new high. We were bullish on silver for ages, you know. These bags are my fastest pumping bags from the moment. But yeah, first weekly target was hit. Am I selling? Nah, I'm gonna hold this. I think the monthly is gonna close very strong and that we're just gonna keep on running. What is my ultimate target for silver? All the way up here, above $70. And there I'll start taking profit on my long-term bags. I might take some profit before that, but honestly, I just think I'm gonna hold. Like, yeah, same thing for gold, you know. Look at what gold did. It's just on a generational run. It's about to put in a massive monthly close again. And more importantly, like I always say that for crypto bags as well, you either trade the chart and the setup, or you're obviously there's difference between investing, right, and holding for the long term, or trading for the short term or the long term, but actually trading the charts. And when it comes to investing and for the longer term, you don't only look at the chart, but you also look at what percentage the asset is in your net worth, right? If my silver and gold bags are gonna be worth more than my crypto bags or my real estate or my money on the bank, I will start taking profits and moving it around again. But if this, compared to your crypto bags, for example, is still just a friction, then in my opinion, it doesn't make sense to sell, right? Because it doesn't make a difference in your net worth. That's how I sometimes like to look at charts like these. So platinum breaking out as well. Right now, my biggest bag of these three is silver, then gold, and then platinum, but they're like, all three are like the same, around the same size. So I have a lot of stocks as well. Then the S&P just holding once again for the long run. And once that portfolio is up enough, I will start taking some off, right? So there's that. All right, so I'm gonna go off here. Just quickly want to say, if you guys want to trade somewhere, go make an account on Blowfin. You can also get access to my Discord group if you do so and make a deposit. If you want to go for a breakout account, a funded account, check out Breakout. I have a discount code in the description as well, which you can use. You can get funded up to $200,000 just for a 1K fee that you pay once. You can use it in different ways, right? If you don't want to risk all of your money, buy a fee, and your only risk is basically that fee. You can buy as many as you want. So yeah, go check it out. The info is in the description. Big thanks to Blowfin and Breakout. Big thanks to you guys for joining. We'll do this more often. So yeah, I'll be in the Discord if you have any questions. Take it easy, stay safe, manage your risk, and see you in the next one. Bye.